This is These Hips Are on Fire class. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on assessing what range of motion we have, and then we're going to train our hips in a slightly different way than what we've done in the previous classes. It's going to integrate some of those concepts, but this is going to be more intense in terms of isometric strength training, kind of like the shoulder class, if you've taken that already. So our goal is to warm up our hips, get into them, get really familiar with what's happening, and then we're going to work on expanding that range of motion a little bit more aggressively. All right? For the hypermobile crowd, I want you to follow along with the position, and I want you to just focus on 10-second squeezes, sweeping the ankle down and lifting the ankle up. Those are the two things I want you to focus on. We want to create strength and stability for you, not more range of motion, because you have owned the game of range of motion. Right? First things first, we are going to do a side lying hip car. So we've done hip cars in a couple classes so far, but what we're going to do in this position is we're going to reach our hands straight out in front of us. We're going to have our knee bent and not fully underneath us, but so our foot is behind our butt. It's going to keep us from rolling back as we reach back. All right. We're going to take our top leg. We're going to sweep it through, find neutral, lift that knee up a little higher, open the gate as far as we can without rocking back, right? That's why we're pushing these guys into the floor. Internally rotate and reach back as far as we can, right? Lift like the dog at the fire hydrant, externally rotate, come back to neutral, plant on the floor, right? We're going to do 2 more reps just like that. Up, neutral, open the gate, Captain Morgan, dog at the fire hydrant, knees together. Up, around, and back. Last rep. And you're squeezing your core just a little bit while you do this to make sure that you're not compensating or rolling around from one side to the other. All right, other side. All right, similar position. Reaching those hands out in front of us. Scoop that heel up. Find neutral. You can see I'm cheating with my knee a little bit. Open the gate. Ankle bone goes to the ceiling. Knee comes back. Knees stack. Lift. You can see it's not as steady on my left. It's just a little more wobbly. This is my slightly more limited hip. And as you know from the other classes, there's a lot of fun, weird compensations that our hips will give us to get us over to that left side. And you'll start to notice more and more as we do these things that, sorry, just follow along for the next couple reps. We're doing 3 reps each side again. You'll notice that there are things that your right hip will do really, really well that your left hip won't. And then you'll notice things that your left hip does that actually end up causing kind of like some discomfort. And then when that goes away, it's beautiful. I'll bring in my step stool. I'm gonna put it over here first because I'm gonna work my right hip first. Okay, so for this setup, you're gonna need a ball or your pillow, whichever one you were using, something for your head, and then something here to rest your foot on, okay? What we're looking for is a nice stretch out of the outside edge, maybe even underneath of the top hip. What we're not looking for is a cramp in the front of the hip, okay? So we're gonna hang out in this stretch for 2 minutes. What I want you to try to do is pull that pelvis back. So we're in our stretch. Ankle bone is higher than our knee. You can even pull this out if you need to go a little bit further. What I don't want to see is that you, what I don't want to see is that you overarch your low back. You're going to have to play with pelvic position just a little bit so that you don't immediately cramp in the front of the hip, okay? We're breathing, we're relaxing, and we're sinking deeper into the stretch. So in this case, I'm taking my right hand and I'm pressing into my right knee gently, just to put a little bit more pressure on that hip. Your body's going to fight this because it's not really going to want to be there. It might be a little uncomfortable in the first round. All right, we are going to, after this 2-minute stretch is up, we are going to do 2 rounds of squeezes. One where we're trying to sweep our ankle bone down through our support, but of course, we're not going to let anything move. And then one where we're going to try to lift ankle bone up off of the support. It doesn't matter if you actually lift. It matters more that you're trying and you're squeezing. So the down part is going to be a little bit of inner thigh, and it's going to be a lot of something deep and something you may or may not have identified previously. It's called your joint capsule, and it's a bunch of connective tissue comes together, and it's pulled on by a bunch of different muscles that allow you to internally and externally rotate your hip, but also allow stability of that joint. That tissue will tighten up as you don't use certain ranges of motion. So that stuff doesn't allow for movement if you don't move it. I know that sounds funny. It's use it or lose it, basically. All right, so here we are. We're going to sweep our ankle bone down. And that's where sometimes the ball helps because you can keep pressure into something. But I'm going to keep my hand here, and I'm going to start to sweep down. Okay. I'm trying to slowly ramp up the intensity of that squeeze. It's not full bore right away. It's gently start to squeeze a little harder and a little harder because you don't want it to pull you out of position, right? We're going to hold that for another 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then we're going to take a breath into our rib cage with our nose. And then we're going to pull ankle bone up. And we're going to try to lift as best we can. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly release. Remember, if you instantly cramped in the front of the hip, it's because we lost that pelvic tuck and we flipped the pelvis, we dumped it forward, and then we kind of shortened a different muscle than we wanted to. So if you cramped, it's okay. Just readjust your position. Hang out, breathe, and if you have to get up and shake it off, you can get up and shake it off. So after that first round, what you should feel is that the stretch back here gets deeper. It should feel good right in the back of that hip there. And if you're getting pinchy pain on the front of the hip, like in through your groin area, again, try to adjust your pelvic position. And you may end up needing the space of the ball to find that. And it's okay if it's not as deep back here, if it means that you're not getting pinch or pain somewhere else. Okay. We're going to run that back one more time. Okay. We're going to start to push down, ramping up our intensity, 20% effort to 40, 40% to 60, 60 to 80 to your greatest, safest effort. So you're squeezing as hard as you can without hurting yourself. Holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Big breath and try to pull yourself deeper. So ankle bone's going up. My leg is rotating in the socket and I'm keeping my pelvis back from rolling forward. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly release. Ouch. No, it's not ouch. It's just really intense. All right. Now that we've opened up range of motion, we are going to kind of click save on some of that new strength by doing something called passive range liftoffs. So we are getting almost to the end of what we have available to us in terms of like a really deep stretch, but we want to be able to actually win as we lift. We don't want to just squeeze as hard as we can and not move anything. All right. This is a time for actual movement. So we're going to do 10 1-second holds. We're going to reach our hands out in front of us, lock it in. We're going to push into the ground with our bottom side. So our left side's pushing into the ground. We're going to take a breath in and we're going to lift up, 1 second hold and back down. That's it. It's simple, but not easy. It's actually very, very hard. So make sure that we're not cheating. Make sure we're not dumping or tucking or anything crazy in terms of pelvis. We just want to keep pelvis where it is. We just want to move. We're rotating this hip in its joint. Okay? So breath in and 1 second up. Hold and back down. Up, 2, up, 3, up, 4. If you notice, I'm not crunching as I do this. I'm just rotating. So I'm not doing an oblique crunch where my pelvis is coming up. I'm not even feeling my abs. I'm feeling my hip. All right. We were on 4, up, 5, up, 6, up, 7, up, 8, up, 9, up, 10, and that's it. All right. But okay, so if you struggled with being, like in this case, I'm kind of in a similar position as to where I was for the Pales rails or the squeezes. So you can back off because I want you to win. And if you have to go all the way, well, I really hope that doesn't fall on me. If you need to go all the way to the floor where you put the ball back in between your knees and puts us into almost external rotation, and that's where you can win, that's totally fine. This is an acceptable version of this exercise. We're going to go ahead and switch sides. Remember, it's okay if one side is far more limited than the other. It's probably inevitable. So on your left side, what you may find that you have to do is just like in our other hip class where you do like a pullback so that you get that inner thigh on, and then that stretch happens in the hip in the same place that it did on the right. You just may have to do more to set up to get it. So you may have to do like a deeper tuck because your right side is likely naturally doing this. Your left side is likely not doing this as naturally. And you can see like it's just not the same position on my left versus my right. So it's okay if it's not the same position for you. It's also okay if, say, you're using a step stool, this is where you're at. If you feel a good stretch here and you're not in pain, this is fine. 2-minute timer's already on because I know that 2 minutes feels like forever, and this is always an exercise in patience, which as parents, we always need more of, but it always seems to be suspiciously lacking, especially around bedtime, at least in our house. It flies the coop as soon as bedtime starts. Now breathe and relax. I know it's not that relaxing, but just making sure that you are taking the time, because we are already taking the time. You're already here doing this. So might as well take an opportunity to bring ourselves further into our bodies, relax, breathe. Oh, I could have done that. So we're going to do passive range holds or lift-offs. Oh, let's see. Can I edit it together like that? Yeah, I'll do it that way. All right, so our 2-minute timer is on its way. On this one, we only got about 20 seconds left. Remember your job. Ankle bone is going down through the step stool support, whatever you're using, and on your first squeeze, and we're ramping that up slowly. And then on the second squeeze, we are pulling fast and hard. We're just not letting pelvis rock forward in order to accomplish it. Remember, cramp means pelvis is not in the right position. Okay, ready? Here we go. We're going to start to push down. 20 to 40, 60 to 80, to your greatest, safest effort. Big deep breath. We're hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Big breath and lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly release deeper into the stretch. It's not relaxing, so I can't tell you to relax into the stretch. Just release slowly into it. You can use some of our breathing techniques that we've learned from our previous classes. Through our nose, out through our mouth. That's actually going to help you sink deeper into a better stretch. All right, here we go. We're going to start to push down again. 20% effort down to 40, 40% to 60, 60 to 80, and to your greatest, safest effort, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, big breath, and lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly release. Whew. That was good. We're going to do our passive range lift-offs. So if you remember from our other side, the goal is to actually win this time. I want you to be able to lift off of your support. We're going to hold for 1 second, just like we did on our other side. 10 1-second holds, all right? So as you do this, breathe in, get that rib cage tucked. On this side, make sure that you've got that hip pulled back but not arched low back. Press into your outreached hand because you're going to need some tension on this. Breathe in and lift. 1 second, parachute back down. Ready to do that again. Big breath in. 1 second up. And parachute back down. That's 2. Up. 3. Up. 4. It's going to get harder and harder as we go. Up. 5. Up. 6. Up. 7. Up. 8. I am borderline cramping. Up. 9. Up. 10. Nice job. Now that's all over and done with. The goal with these exercises is to replicate the task, but not necessarily the range of motion. I've been doing this stuff for a while, so some of these ranges of motions are bigger for me than they might be for you. Totally fine. You'll get to a point where the range of motion is where you want it to be. And there's also, you don't need more mobility than you need. So as long as you can get to the positions that you want to get to without compensations and without pain, you're in a great position. All right, we're going to do our hip cars one last time just to click save on that new range of motion that we just worked to create. And then we're going to finish with a little bit of breathing and then you're done. All right, so we're just going to do 2 reps each side. Okay, so we're back to our starting position. We're sweeping that leg up. Neutral, open the gate. Ankle bone goes to the ceiling. Knees come down together. Lift the whole leg. Don't externally rotate as you do this. Lift the whole leg, which should be tired but easier. Externally rotate, come back through to neutral, plant that foot. 1 more rep. Up, and going back. Down. Okay, I know I said 2, but we did 3. Sorry. Flip around the other side. That's because those passive range holds were supposed to happen when that was on the other side. Whoops. Continuity errors. All right. We're here. Sweep that leg up. Lift. Ankle bone goes to the ceiling. Back down. As you lift, be aware of what your pelvis is doing. Be aware of where that pull is coming from. Because you just created some new neural pathways. You just remapped how your hip is going to work on that side. And so we want to be very aware of what hip is doing and not crunching into our oblique to kind of create a similar thing that we did on our right. Hacky sack, neutral, open gate, ankle bone to the ceiling, dog at the fire hydrant, down together. lift, up, around, back down. All right, the last thing we're gonna do is we'll need our ball or our pillow. We'll need our chair or support. Hopefully I didn't mess anything up too bad. Okay. We're gonna put our heels up at 90 degrees or as close to as you can get with the chair that you have. Head flat on the floor if you can get there. If not, tuck a pillow under. I don't want you to be hurting your neck in doing this. All right. So we're gonna pull hamstrings on, toes are up. We're tucking pelvis underneath, and we're doing 4 breaths here. Okay, we're gonna reach. Get as empty as you can. As you inhale, reach further. As you exhale, pull harder with the hamstrings. Feel those abs come on. 2 more breaths. Last one. And relax. All right, nice job. You nailed it. Your hips are on fire. I hope you enjoyed that one.